Hi everyone! We are living really intense times right now, and what's best than meditation to calm ourselves down and center ourselves. So meditation is a spiritual technique that is as old as the world, and it's present in all spiritual cultures, all religions. There are hundreds and hundreds of different styles of meditation. There's mindfulness meditation, transcendental meditation, Buddhist, Zen, Taoist meditation, lots and lots. But today I'm going to speak only about the basics of meditation, so I will not focus on any particular technique. So science has discovered through the analysis of brain activity that meditation diminishes the brain activity. So when we are in normal waking state, we are in beta, and when we go into meditation or into a relaxed state or into the state of hypnosis, we go down to alpha state, and we can go even deeper to theta state, which is a deep relaxation and quite similar to the state you experience just before falling asleep or just after waking up in the morning. And these two states, alpha and theta, are the states that allow us to experience our subconscious and unconscious minds. They also discovered, measuring the activity on monks and nuns. They asked them simply to feel compassion, and they realized that when they feel this feeling of compassion, their brain actually activates even more, so even higher than beta. And it's called the gamma state. Gamma state is associated with a peak concentration in pure compassion. It is also measured in very top athletes, top musicians, or any champions in their field. It's really a very high level of consciousness. And it's also when we experience gamma, it's also the frequency that connects us to our higher self. And it's also the state of channeling. So experiencing gamma, we can attain that state thanks to meditation, of course, and it helps us to align with our truth. Scientists have discovered that meditation decreases the activity in the parts of the brain that are linked to negative emotions like depression, like dissatisfaction, like egocentrism. And on the other hand, it increases the activity in the parts of our brain that is linked to positive emotions like joy, enthusiasm, compassion, empathy, etc., etc. So meditation helps us to center ourselves. It helps us to discover our inner world. It also helps us to reduce anxiety, stress, any discomfort. It relaxes also our bodies. It helps us to become more compassionate, have more empathy. So there are really a lot of benefits from meditation, and choosing to practice it daily really can change our lives, and for the better. So I can only encourage you to start meditating every day. Ultimately, it guides us to find Source or God inside ourselves, and it leads us to enlightenment. It's also a way to free ourselves from mental slavery and no longer be a slave to our thoughts. So traditionally, it's recommended to sit on the floor on a carpet or a meditation cushion with our legs crossed, or in lotus or half lotus, and the spine is straight. So we can imagine that there's a string at the top of our head that pulls us up like a puppet, so we can really feel this slight tension that keeps us aligned. Of course, shoulders are relaxed, shoulders down, and our hands can lay just softly on our knees. And there are, of course, a lot of different hand positions that we call mudras that we can use, but for a basic meditation, I can just recommend, for example, if you are meditating in the morning, just have your hands with palms facing up, so you receive the energy, the celestial energy, And if you meditate in the evening, then just put your palms facing down, being just a clear channel and giving energy to Mother Earth. So this vertical position is really the perfect one for meditation because it allows all the energies to flow freely through our bodies and meridians. It also allows us to be completely alert and not fall asleep. But if you really have back or joint problems or arthrosis, then you can always sit on a chair, of course, but just make sure that your feet are flat and that your hands are on your knees. Or you can of course meditate just laying down on a bed or on a mattress. This enables us to be really deeply relaxed, but the danger is that we can fall asleep. So just choose how you're comfortable. And it's just normal that if you've never meditated before, like sitting down on the ground, that you feel discomfort at first. But I can assure you that with time and practice, it will become like a second nature and you will really feel at the same time relaxed and completely alert and vertical. One of the most important things when we meditate is our breath. So focusing on the breath is really what's going to help us to stay centered and not being attached to our thoughts. So to breathe efficiently, we have to breathe through the belly, a really deep breathing. So on the inhale, the belly is filled with air, and on the exhale, the navel is pulled back to the spine, leaving all the air out. And also this breathing is like the movement of the universe. It's expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. So we can really align ourselves with that consciously. So it is often said that the goal of meditation is to become free of thoughts, to become empty inside. In the beginning it can seem a little tricky because we're not used to meditation, and so your mind will certainly heat up when you start meditating. That means it can be really compared to a little monkey in a cage, like bouncing all around and trying to get your attention and not leaving you in peace to meditate. This is completely normal, so don't worry. All you have to do is just observe. Observe the little tricks of the monkey and do not identify with your thoughts. You will see that with practice and with time, your mind will calm down more and more progressively. And you will also notice that the space between each thought, so in the beginning you won't even notice the space between each thought, but the more you practice, the more you will notice this. The space between each thought will expand more and more. And it's that space, in that space that you experience what we call inner peace. In that space you really experience your true self. There are certain meditation techniques where stillness is required. Stillness is the practice. But generally speaking, I wouldn't say that the goal is to stay completely still during a meditation, because the only fact that we are breathing in and out is already a movement. And like I said before, it's like the movement of the universe, expansion and contraction. And you will notice also that when you are meditating and focus on your inner world, you will feel the energies circulating inside yourself, and you will also feel the energies around you. And you will feel sort of this interaction there is between yourself and the outside, which is actually an illusion because it's all the same. But you will feel that your body maybe wants to move a little. So, since meditation is about allowing, I can only recommend that you just allow it and go with the flow, you know. So just move with the flow. And also meditation is of course famous to activate the Kundalini energy. So the Kundalini is this coiled energy at the base of the spine that is linked to sexuality, creativity, and it's a very strong energy. Meditation will activate the Kundalini. So when you feel that, usually you will feel that in your hips. They will start to bounce like this. you know, back and forth or left and right, just allow it as well. It's just the Kundalini that is expressing itself. So in theory, we can meditate everywhere. We can meditate at home, we can meditate in public transportation, we can meditate in nature, in a park, wherever. But if you choose to have a daily practice, I would recommend that you find a spot, always the same, that is quiet and calm, where you know you won't be disturbed, and have your little ritual, because it's like a moment for yourself. And of course, it's always amazing to meditate in the middle of nature. It's always amazing to meditate in high vibrational places, so I can also recommend to try that out. You can always set an intention for your meditation. So, for example, meditating daily is like a daily shower, so it's also a way to cleanse ourselves of all the impurities. So we can really set this intention of cleansing ourselves on every level, so physically, emotionally, energetically, mentally, etc. And you can also visualize simply that there's a nice bright light, or you can choose any color you wish, that comes down from the top of your head and just scans the entire body, cleansing everything away. Or you can also imagine it coming up from the earth. It's as you wish, as you prefer. So you just imagine that's all scanning and purifying and cleansing everything. You can also set a mantra for your meditation. You can recite a prayer. There are lots of things that you can do during your meditation, and I'm sure you can be creative enough to find out what suits you best. You can of course light up candles, you can light up some incense. Incense is very famous to help us attain altered states of consciousness, and it's a very nice smell. You can put some music on. Today you can find really a lot of music on YouTube with certain frequencies that help diminish the brain activity, and so helps a lot for meditating. So just try it out and see what suits you best. So there are a few tips to help us meditate more efficiently. One of the ones I prefer, that I used a lot when I started meditating, was just imagining that you are at the bottom of the sea, and you can imagine the sand that's quite clear and nice, and the water is crystal clear, transparent. And just every time you have a thought, imagine that it's a bubble that floats up to the surface. So every time you have a thought, the bubble floats up. Or you can also imagine that you are standing in front of a blackboard, and every time you have a thought or an emotion, you just write it down. So you can label it, for example, judgment, so write it down with a chalk. Or fear, or irritation, or if you're thinking about, oh, I have to do the dishes later on, you just write dishes. And every time you write a word down, make sure that you erase it with a sponge. So those are really techniques that are very efficient to detach ourselves from our thoughts and not identify with them, and not be caught in the flow of thoughts, because one thought leads to another, and often we don't realize it. Sometimes it takes even a couple of minutes before we realize, oh, I'm not centered anymore. So in that case, it's okay. Don't blame yourself for anything. Just come back to your breath and take one really deep, conscious breath, and come back to yourself and center yourself again. Another tip is that recently scientists have discovered that our thoughts are linked to very small movements of the tongue. And it's also very logical when we think about it, because when we have thoughts, it's almost like we are talking to ourselves. So if we focus on relaxing the tongue, we have much less thoughts. So this is a really nice tip for your meditation. As you can imagine, I can only encourage you to meditate daily. It can only benefit you on the long term, and you'll see that your life quite literally transforms when you start meditating, because not only can you find peace and calm inside yourself when you meditate, but also in your daily life, because you are much more present, you are much less a slave to your thoughts, and you judge less, you are more present for others. So really full of benefits. And if really it's the first time that you meditate, or you're not used to meditating a lot, I would recommend that you start with 5 minutes a day, and progressively you can go to 10 minutes a day, then 15 minutes a day, then 20, then 30 or more. I think that between 15 and 30 minutes a day is a good average, because after practicing meditation for 10 years, I noticed that the most important thing is not the length of the meditation, but the quality of the meditation. So we can meditate 2 hours daily and be completely distracted by our thoughts, or we can meditate 5 minutes and be completely present during those 5 minutes. So guess what's more efficient between those two? Also, we didn't come here, we didn't incarnate on this earth to stay in a meditation for 8 hours a day, even though doing meditation retreats once in a while is always beneficial. But we came here to live our lives fully, and meditation is just a tool, it's not an end in itself. I will be sharing with you specific meditations and guided meditations very soon to help you meditate every day. And so see you soon, and thank you for watching.